It is a great pleasure to me to introduce to you this roundtable on evolutionism, which I think it's one of the highest points of the conference. So the first one to speak will be Pablo Ianello, and his talk is titled The Evolutionary Ideas of Bruno Leoni's Legal Thought.
Good morning to everyone. Well, thank you very much for being here so early on Saturday. I apologize in advance for my English if it's not so good at this time on Saturday. I hope everybody can understand me. Okay, as Federico just mentioned, the idea of my presentation is to talk a little bit about evolutionary ideas in Bruno Leoni legal thinking. Well, to begin with, I would like to say that evolutionism is being considered as a kind of new paradigm in legal thought, as a trend try to confront legal dogmatism, which has been the way of thinking law from, let's say, middle of 19th century. Bruno Leoni legal thought can be understood. I will try to put it in two different aspects. The first one would be the philosophical aspect, which could be more related with Austrian philosophy, and the second one would be a little bit more historical aspect. The first thing I would like to mention is, Leoni theory of claim, what we call it in Spanish has been translated as reclamación or reclamo. In his theory, the claim or reclamación is the central aspect of Leoni legal thinking. Claim could be understood in terms of will, of human will and human intention of act. To Leoni, the human will and human intention has to be the center of legal ideas. That's a very important issue because for most of lawyers, I'm a lawyer, the aim of law is to study the norm as such, the norm as an object of study of law, not human behavior. Leoni says, okay, if we are going to study law, if we are going to study legal system, we have to focus on human behavior. We have to focus on human intention. We have to focus on will. What people want to do when they are related with each other. In order to justify human intention, human behavior, Leoni develops a theory which is very related to Miesian ideas and Miesian praxeology. The second point I would like to introduce here is empirism in Bruno Leoni's legal thinking. The idea that how to be study law, I think that this is more kind of epistemological question in Leoni's legal thinking because it's more related about how law has to be studied, how law has to be understood, which is the method that you have to use when you are doing legal sciences. Well, you say the better way to understand law, the better way to understand legal system is through an empirist point of view. Why is that? Because it's when you can see how people is acting, how people are behaving toward law. So, empirism is one of the starting point in Leoni's legal thinking. In here is an interesting mixture between, human praxeology and empirism coming from human ideas. Leoni, one of the most important thing in Leoni's view is this mixture. He can use praxeology and Kantian ideas and universalism and at the same time empirism. In my opinion, this could be possible because Leoni's way to think about law. He was a professor of law, but he was also a practitioner lawyer, so he had both sides both view. I mean, he can understand law as a science, he can understand legal phenomenon as an object of approach from scientific point of view, but he also could to understand law as a practice. I mean, law is not just an intellectual thing that has to be understood in abstract term, which is most of the time the way that dogmatic legal thinking, positivism legal thinking, approach to law. I mean, if you study, for example, Kelsen, the basic aim of the study is law and the internal consistency of norms, and everything else, you have to be put it aside. If you can avoid and you can understand this kind of subject, but you are not doing legal science if you are speaking in dogmatic terms.